So you want to get into AI and automation and you don't know where to start. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do. No fluff, no fancy sales pitches. I'm going to get straight to the point. By the end of this video, you're going to understand the basics and how to get started with AI and automation. Hi, I'm Robin from Let's Automate It, AI and automation for non-techies. And welcome. Let's dive straight in. So here I am on a website called n8n.io. Now, unless you've been living under a rock, you probably know what n8n is, especially if you've been investigating a little bit about AI and automation. What are we talking about here? Well, let me give you a story. Let me give you an example. Let's say you wanted to start a business of shuttling people from downtown to the airport. The first thing you're going to need is probably a car, some kind of vehicle to get the job done. Now, of course, you could dive into analysis paralysis by looking at every car under the sun, knowing which one to buy, or you could just go and see what's the most popular out there. Go and get that car and get started shuttling people to the airport. Get started with your business. And that's what I'm saying here. Get started with n8n. There's a lot of options out there, but trust me, I've been doing this for a long time. n8n is fantastic. Is it better than the others? That doesn't matter. Personally think it is, but really what it is the most powerful platform to kickstart your step into this world of AI and automation as fast as possible. So I want you to come over to n8n.io. In fact, we've got a link down in the description of this video. Yes, it's affiliate link. Yes, we get a little bit of a kickback, but I'm going to ask you to click that just as a way of saying thank you for this video if you find it useful. If you don't find it useful and you want to go around us, that's absolutely fine. But please come and check us out in our community. Description down below. We're all about AI. We're all about automation. We're helping beginners get started and advanced users as well. That's what we're all about here at Let's Automate It. I'm doing this live. Since I last had a look at n8n, they had changed their website. This looks completely different. So I'm going to walk through this live with you, getting started for free. So we're going to stumble through this together. Let's click this Get Started button and see what happens. So I'm going to pop some details in here and let's go and pop some stuff in. I'm going to give myself a fake name because I have signed up before, so I don't want to be blocked for running a second sign up here. So let's just put in one of my old Gmail addresses and let's hope this works out. All right, that looks the same thing. Let's just pop a password in here. I will be deleting this afterwards. So I'm just going to use a simple password. So I pop one in there and let's just call this. In fact, you know what? I'm going to call it with exactly the same name as I've got here. We'll pop that in there and success. So let's click start our 14 free day trial and let's see what the next step is. So what are we doing here? We're actually signing up for n8n and we're using their cloud feature. They do have a self-hosted feature where you can self-host it for free. But in which case you are responsible for the upkeep, the maintenance, the backup, all of those things. And if you're starting out with AI and automation for the first time, this technique is the fastest way to get going and to see if this is for you. So here we go. What is the size of your company? Let's just say it's only me for now. What team are you on? Let's just say we're on the sales team. What best describes your company? Let's just say we're an automation agency. And which of these do you feel comfortable doing? Maybe we're not comfortable doing any of that, but let's choose the last one, setting up a webhook. I don't think this is going to make any difference. I'm going to click this OK button. How did you hear about n8n? Let's say YouTube. You heard about it right here on this channel. Invite team members to your workspace. We're going to go ahead and skip that. And there we go. We've actually got our workspace set up already. There's a great video here. This is the original Flowgrammer. His name escapes me right now, and I apologize to you because you are doing fantastic work with n8n, Mr. Flowgrammer. If you're watching this, I doubt you are. But here's a great video to get you started. But we're going to show you how to get started today as well. So that took a couple of minutes, and that's with me talking through and making some cut and paste areas. Let's start automating. So I'm going to click into this. It's going to launch your very own n8n dashboard. Now, we're on a 17-day trial here. And one thing I want you to take note of is your URL. This is where you're going to have to come to. Whatever you've got, this is going to be the URL you're going to come to use your n8n. And let's pause here for a moment and just talk about what we are doing here. What is this platform? Why do we need a platform if we're getting involved with AI and automation? Well, let's drop the AI component for now. It just makes it complicated. Well, before I do that, let me actually just position AI correctly. Automation is the process of linking things together so that tasks can flow from one little tool to the next tool, from one software to the next software automatically without humans being involved. And AI is just another one of those tools. Yes, an incredibly powerful tool, but AI is at its best when it's used with automation. So it's not so much AI and automation. I prefer to think of it as just automation, but within automation, we utilize AI a lot if we need it. And often we can get away without using AI because, let's be honest, AI is growing super fast. It is incredible, but it's not always the most predictable tool to be using. So sometimes a just simple automation will get the job done quicker and more reliably. So with that being said, let's have a look here. What is n8n all about? Well, it is a piece of software that is going to let you connect things together, connect little programs together so you can pass information, you can collect information from a source, work with some information, change it, mix it up, and then inject it into another source. So you might be able to capture things from say some kind of web form and then write it into a Google Sheet and then maybe trigger an email on the back of that to let somebody know that there's a new lead come in. That's a simple automation. And why don't we go ahead and try and build that right now? Let me give you a short tour through here. We are keeping this short and sweet because I really want you to get started super fast. Here we are on the homepage of n8n, and we've got a couple of things going on. So because we don't have any other workflows started, we've got this start from scratch button. But the moment we make our own workflow, underneath here, we're going to have a little list of workflows that we can click into. We're going to have this thing called credentials. Credentials are just kind of, think of them like the passwords. These are accessing tools. So if you want to access your email in order to send an email or retrieve an email, you would need credentials. You would need the password set up so you could access that. If you wanted to write to a Google Sheet, you would need your credential. If you wanted to talk to an AI, you would need an API key so you could talk to the AI. That's what credentials are all about. And then executions here are just the history. These are every time a workflow runs, depending on your settings, it's going to save the workflow, and that's your credentials. So that, in a nutshell, is what we are doing here. And then we've got some other bits and pieces down the side here. I'm not going to dive into those because they're pretty self-explanatory, and I want us to get building straight away. So let's go ahead and start a workflow. And here's a big button here that says create workflow. By the way, you could also hit this little plus button over here. There's a couple of ways to do it, but let's just hit create workflow and launch into our canvas. Here we have a canvas in front of us. Your canvas may be white. Mine's dark because I prefer dark mode. I find it easier on the eyes. And what is most important here is this little menu down the side. Now, this is the very, very latest version of the n8n cloud version. I actually work on the self-hosted version, support my own version, but if you're starting out, as I said earlier, cloud version is the best for you. But let's just pause for a moment here. We're looking at this blank canvas, and let's just think about an automation. And what is an automation? It's really just a series of steps that typically a human would have done that we're now trying to emulate using automation software and connecting tools together. So let's think of a real world example, maybe a slightly old school example. And that might be you have a receptionist at a business. When the phone rings, that receptionist picks up the phone, has a conversation with a person on the other end of the phone, captures that information, and then maybe phones a salesperson or a service agent or whoever is appropriate and gives them that information. There's a workflow, answering the phone, recording the information, and then passing the information on to someone else. Now, there's going to be subsequent workflows after that and actually delivering the service, selling the product, whatever that might be. But let's just focus on that, and let's go ahead and build that automation. So all workflows start with a trigger, even if they're human-based. And in our example, the telephone ringing is the trigger. That is what initiates the action. It's what makes the receptionist reach over and answer the phone. So the first step that we need to be looking at here on our canvas, adding our first step, is a trigger step. Now, you can bring a trigger onto your canvas here by clicking this plus button or by clicking this plus button over here. It doesn't matter, but let's click this one and you'll see it's asking us now what triggers this workflow. So instead of a person answering a phone, maybe the digital version of that is someone filling out a lead form. form. So let's find a lead form trigger. Now, there are many triggers available to you in the n8n platform. I'm not going to go through them. You can get familiar with them, but as you can see, we have many triggers. And when you click into a trigger section, there's subsections as well. So we're just going to go with this one here on a new n8n form event. So I'm going to click that. Let me click out of this to make sense of what's happened here. We've got a trigger. We have an n8n form trigger. This is going to be a form someone fills out with a lead. I'm going to walk you through how we do that in a moment. If we double click this now, we're going to click into this node and we're going to be able to configure it. So that's what I'm doing now. Double click into this and now we can configure this node. This little URL up here is going to be the URL where the form is hosted. If you've got some tech skills, you can embed this form into any website or web page or app that you like. We'll just work with it at this particular moment. And let's put the basics in here. So let's just call this a lead form. And why don't we just duplicate that and call that a lead form. Let's add a form element. Let's put name in there and we'll make that a required field. If you've ever built a form before, you'll know exactly what I'm doing here. Let's put email in here. Now, I'm keeping this super simple, guys. If you're watching this, I'm keeping this super simple. I'm not trying to turn you into a pro AI and automation expert in one video. I'm trying to give you a taste of how to get started using n8n as fast as I can. But email here is going to be of the email format and we'll make that a required field. I'll click out of that. I'm going to go ahead and click the save button now so I can save this workflow. And I've actually typed in here and given it a name as well. So you can check that out right there. Yeah, I'll show you how I did it. Just click into that and you can type away. And that's what I did. Whoops, workflow. Okay, so we've got that going. Oh, one more button over here. We have a button here that when we're ready, we can take our workflow live, take it into production. So it's in development mode at the moment. We'll keep it inactive. Let's click into this. And now we are going to click execute step and it's going to let us bring some test data in. So I'm going to click this button, execute step. It's going to open our form. There it is. And let's just put in a form here. Let's just use my own name. And why don't we use that same email address that I signed up with? Durban@gmail.com. There it is. Let's go ahead and submit that data. Data has been submitted. Let's get back over now to our n8n. And what's happened, you can see when we were here before, we had no information on this side. This is the output side. Now, as this is a trigger, there's no input side. The input side would have been us filling out the form. We didn't have line of sight of that because that was done by a human. But the information has come in and we have name, email address, and we've got some metadata here. We can also see it in different views. Right now we're looking at it in table view, but I can look at it in schema view. It's just a different layout. I don't have to worry about it. All JSON view, which is it's JavaScript object notation, fancy word a lot of developers will use, but basically you can say it's the same information developed in different ways. So well done. You have a trigger node already, and now you've already started automating. We have information coming into our workflow, and as you can see here, it says one item of information has come in. Okay, so let's go back to our human example. This is the equivalent of the phone is ringing and the receptionist has spoken to the person on the other side and captured the information. What information did they get? They got this information. They got a name and an email address. So let's go and put that somewhere. Maybe we'll put it into a spreadsheet. Let's put it into a Google Sheet. So that's an action. Trigger, then action. So let's put an action in here. I can click this plus button here or over here. Doesn't matter which one I choose. Let's click this one. And now I'm just going to type into here. I'm going to use a Google Sheet. All right, and there we go. I've got Google Sheets. I can open this up, and here I've got a couple of options, and I'm going to go to append or update a sheet. What other options have we got here? I could create a sheet. I can get rows. So I'm just going to go with this one, append or update a sheet. Okay, it's open straight into the configuration mode. You've seen how we do that. Now, the first thing we need here is credentials to connect to the account with. We want to connect to a Google account. This is the credential we spoke about in the beginning. So let's go ahead and do that. And we're going to create a new credential by clicking on this. And we're going to go through the steps. Now, if you're self-hosted, this is a lot more complicated. If you're cloud-hosted, it's like we're doing on this demo. This is straightforward. You're just going to hit sign in with Google. And you've done this 1,000 times before. You're going to choose your Google account. You are going to give all the permissions that you need. and it's gone and made a successful connection. We are now able to talk to our between n8n and our Google account. So let's just change this. I'm going to call this to Rob's Google Sheet. Okay, so got that. We got that. Oops. We want to I think, what did I do wrong there? I forgot to name it. Let me just set this little pencil icon, and am I signed in already? Let me try the other one. You see what I did here? I actually had two accounts, and I didn't name them properly, so now I'm just going to go and look at them. Okay, this is the account that's connected. Let's just rename that. Rob's Google Sheets, and I'm going to save it. And now I can see my credential has a name. That way you can have multiple credentials in here. Let's click back into this and keep configuring. And what is the resource? Well, it'll be a sheet within a document. And, well, we actually need a document first because we're going to write this to a spreadsheet. Let's go ahead and create the spreadsheet. So I'm going to head over into my Gmail. Let's go new. Let's go new Google Sheet. And let's just call this new leads, and then let's have a name field, and let's have an email field. Keep it super simple. There, that is done. Now I'm going to come back over into my brand new workflow, and what are we going to do? Well, we want to work with a sheet within the document. What does that mean? It means here we're going to work in this sheet within this document. That's what they're saying over there. So let's come back here. So we're going to select sheet within a document. What is the operation we want to do? You can see n8n has a reputation of a steep learning curve, but it's getting easier and easier to use. Right here, it's telling us exactly what we want to do. We want to create a new row in a sheet. That's what we want to do right here. It tells us. So let's select that option. Now we want to look at our list of items. So I'm just going to go into there, and there it is. It's pulling right from our Google account. We're already automating. Look at that. New leads. Get rid of that arrow. And then the sheets within that, there's only one sheet available to us. If we're given it a different name, it would show the name. And there we have it. And now it's going to map each column manually. And let me show you how to map each column manually. So looking at this node now, remember we've clicked into this node. Here we have an input side. So you'll recognize this is the information that's coming in from our other node. See here, got this node. It's the output of this node becomes the input of that node. So if we click into this, there's the input. Again, I can look at it in all my different views. Let's keep it in schema view. And now look how easy this is. I want to send the value name into the spreadsheet. So I'm just going to grab this, hold down and drag and drop it in. Okay, I want the email. I'm going to grab this and I'm going to pull the email in. All right, and now this is what's called an expression. This is an expression in a language that n8n uses that is basically a dynamic token. And every time that spreadsheet is filled out, that the new lead's name will come in here. So you don't have to know how to write this. It is certainly a useful skill that you will develop as you work more and more with these tools. But you can just drag and drop. And you can actually do more to this. You could actually add more columns to our spreadsheet and give it a date and so on and so forth as well. We'll keep this simple right now, and we're going to go ahead and run this. So I'm going to execute this now. There it is. It's busy doing its work. And now I've got an output. This is the output. Now I've got my name and my email address. Now it stands to reason if we go look at our spreadsheet, we should see that data in there. Let's go have a look. And there it is. We have our name and our email address. Congratulations, you've just automated lead capture. How amazing is that? Super simple, so straightforward. This is how you start your journey of AI and automation. You started with YouTube, you started with Googling, you started with reading forums, you started with asking AI, but most importantly, you start by doing, and that's what's happening right now. Okay, but that's not enough. Remember in our example, we had our receptionist answering the phone and capturing the information. Great, we've done that. But now she needs to let somebody know. So in a digital sense, that is most likely to be sending an email. Now, you can get sexy with AI and automation and actually make phone calls with AI voices, etc., etc. But we're starting our journey here. So let's keep it simple. Let's send an email. That's the next step. So I'm going to click onto this and I'm going to use Gmail. And there it is. We've got a node for that. Let's click into that. And we are going to send a message. Now, just let's find, here we go. Send a message. So it's added the note to the canvas, and now again we need to go and set up our credential. So let's start by doing that. We're going to go create new credential. You'll notice it's the same process. I'm going to connect to my personal Gmail account. I'm going to give it all the permissions that it needs. Continue. And my connection is now successful. If I wait a moment, this should redirect back to my canvas. Let's give this a name. I made the mistake of not doing that properly before. Rob's Gmail. And we'll hit save. And now the credential is connected. We have a connection between n8n, our automation platform, and our Gmail account. So what do we want to do? We want to create a message operation. We've got lots of operations here, but what did we choose? We want to send an email. Who do we want to send it to? Now, we can hard code something in here. So if I click this, it's going to hard code my personal Gmail account into that. But what you could also do is click over to expression here. And if you had information inside of your spreadsheet, for example, unfortunately, we've already built this, but let's just say you had something in here as in sales person email address, and you pop that in here. Now, I'm not going to show you how to do this because this is getting slightly more complicated and I really want to keep it for basics. But what we could do is actually fetch that information from the spreadsheet. It would come in as input over here, and then we could drag that email address. And I'm going to show you here how I'm going to do it, but this is obviously not going to work because this is my lead's email address. But if I could get the salesperson's email address, I could drag and drop that in here, and now it's going to send an email to that address. Now, that is the actual address of our fake lead, so that's not going to work. But it's just as easily you can actually hard code in an email address, if you spell it correct, and it's going to send it to that person. You could put in a subject line, new lead. Let's make it an HTML message. And now we can write the message. I'm going to hit this little expansion box just to make it a little bit easier. And I'm going to write, hi, Rob. Here is a new lead. And there we go. Here is a new lead. And what I want to put in here is actually some information. Let's just drag in the name. I've dropped it in there. And let's drag in that email address. I've dropped it in there. Let's just expand this out again so we can format this a little bit nicer. Here's a new lead. Leads first name. And if I break this open, I can go lead email. And let's go regards reception. Super, super simple. That's the whole point here. We're building something super fast. So if I go and set this up now, there's a couple of options. Let's look at some options. We've got some options here. Let's open the options. So I can, if I append n8n attribution and then turn this off, it won't add in a little signature at the bottom that says created by n8n or something to that effect. So that's an option. What other options we've got here? I can have attachments. I can CC someone else. I can send replies, etc., etc. There's a couple of things I can do here. So let's go ahead and set this and see what happens. So I'm going to execute this step. And now I'm getting an output message, and it's actually showing that it's successful because it has sent it through. So let's go over to that Gmail account quickly. And let's scroll down to it. And you can see I've got some security alerts coming in here because we connected my Gmail account to n8n. So that's typical. And there's a new lead. It's come in. Hi, Rob. Here's a new lead. First name, Robin, lead mail. So there we go. Regards reception. Formatting's not great because I didn't actually put any HTML into the formatting. But what I wanted to show you in a couple of minutes is you've just built your own automation. There it is. It's a 3-step automation. You can take this form now, add more fields to it, go and stick it on a website somewhere. You can create a spreadsheet, give it a couple more rows if you want to, and then you can map that data to the rows, and you can add a Gmail node to it and send an email. This is an automation. Now, You may have questions about AI. Where can you bring AI into this? Well, I'm not going to show you how to bring in AI, but let me talk you through it. We could break in here and actually put an AI step in here, and the AI could write the email for us, and then we use the AI's email that it wrote, and we inject it into our Gmail, and we can have a slightly more personalized, more unique email address, email copy that's been sent over to our salesperson, whatever the case may be. So there's an example of how you can bring AI into this. Now, really what I'd like you to do is to use the link. Yes, as I said before, it's an affiliate link, but if this is useful for you, go and use the affiliate link in our description of this video. Go and set up your n8n. You've got a 14-day trial to go and play with. Just play with these basics. The other thing I want you to do is to head over to our community. Details for the community are in the description down below. It's a couple of bucks each month to join our community, but here we're going to hold your hand and help you get started, help you answer your questions, unlock your roadblocks, whatever it is, and bring in more and more sophisticated automations, and we'll help you hand in hand to build it. So here we have a full-on learning section in here, and we actually have an n8n basics course. If you go ahead and open up this basics course, we actually have a full course in here within our n8n community that's going to help you grasp the basics of n8n, all the basics of n8n, as well as a little 3-step course here that's going to help you get started with n8n, where you're going to go ahead and create a weather bot for yourself, or you just follow through and build one of the automations that's sexy for you, that you like. And if you get stuck, we can help you out. And also, I really want to encourage you to work through our library of videos on our YouTube channel. I think we're sitting on 40 or 50 videos, most of them centered around n8n, to get you started. But get started, watch this video, go and set up your n8n, build this workflow. There's nothing like getting started. n8n is incredible. Now, if you're still watching at this point, let me give you a tour of the n8n interface here, because now we've done the sexy stuff, but let me show you what's going on here. We have, and I actually haven't checked it out, we have an AI assistant. So here we have an AI assistant. I can answer most questions about building workflows for n8n. So let's ask, I don't know how good this is. Let's work with it together. What node would you suggest for the next action? Let's see if this is any good. I don't know. Let's see what happens here. Now, this is probably here to actually build and troubleshoot some nodes, but let's see if it's actually context aware, if it can see what's on the screen. So based on your current workflow, the last node is a send message. This is amazing. By the way, you do not get this AI assistant in the self-hosted version. So this is a great reason to go for the cloud-hosted version. Let n8n handle all your updates and get this great AI tool. Yeah, we can add a CRM integration. We can add a filter. We can add a wait node. We can add a set node. These are some more advanced features, but we could inject this information into a CRM. So it's a great option there. What else have we got going on here? What's this? Open focus panel. I'm not entirely sure what a focus panel is. Let's close that down. Show node parameter here to iterate easily. For example, keep your prompt always visible. I'm not entirely sure what that is. Here we can add a sticky note. So that's kind of nice. You can just make some notes on here and actually write into here. It understands markup language. So you can go and write here and go, this sends an email. And then we can go and just drag this and pop this over this node for a description. We can give it a color, and that's what the nodes are for over there. And then you've got your node panel here. We can go look at our executions, and let's pop into that. And we can actually see our executions have been running. This little beaker here, it shows that it's lab. We've been running it in development mode. And the moment we take this into production mode by taking this active, then it'll record the executions here, but instead of having this little beacon next to it, that'll just be missing, showing that it's a live production version of the workflow. So that's very useful. And then evaluations. Let's not get into evaluations just yet. It's a little bit more complex. Let's keep this simple. So we'll get out of that for now. Over here we have templates that you can choose from. So many templates you can go and check out, and you can go and import those templates into your n8n and get started. Look at this: 681 sales automation workflows. Create a Salesforce account, generate leads with Google Maps, social media automation, Gmail campaign sender. You have so many here that you can scroll through and go and grip and pull into your workflow. Let's click into this one here. What do we got here? Use for free. And I'll show you a great little trick here. Click to explore. Right here on the screen, we're going to get everything we need. But what I can actually do is copy all of that. Control, Command C, go back over to my canvas here. Let's give ourselves a bit of space. Command V, and look at that. How do I get rid of this little guy? Let's get rid of that. And look at that. If I zoom out a little bit by using these features, there's the whole workflow on here. The formatting's a little bit messed around. I've got to move some things around. I'm not going to get into this workflow in detail, but you did see how easy it was for me to go and find an existing workflow built by a member of the n8n community, bring it in, cut and paste it straight into my canvas, complete with instructions on how to manage it here. Really, really powerful. Really, really amazing. n8n is a absolute rockstar tool. I can't say enough about it. What's new? We have change logs all over here. And now if we go back to our overview, let's save this. Now you can see we actually have our workflow listed. And all our workflows will be listed there. You can actually create folders and file your workflows into folders to keep it organized. If you go and set up your workflows in terms of how much time they save, you'll also get some summary over here of exactly how much time you're saving, your failure rate, etc., etc. But I'm going to pause it there because I just want to keep this simple. I wanted to give you a really quick tool. Here's our workflow. Let's go and delete out the other ones and just keep our super simple workflow here. I'm going to zoom in so you can see it a little bit better. And there you have it. AI and automation can be super simple. If you want to get into AI and automation for yourself to make your own life easier, your own business easier, this is the way to get started. Join us in the community. We'll show you how to get started. We won't drown you in automated generated content. We're very authentic, human to human. And we'll also show you how to get more advanced to build this in your business and potentially even launch an AI and automation agency, get your first clients, and turn this skill into a money generating skill. This is definitely the new career of the future. Enjoy it. Let me know what you think in the comments. Straightforward, simple, take action, get started right now, as well as join us in the community. Thank you so much for spending time with me. Good morning, good day, good night, wherever you are in the world, and we'll catch you next week on our next video. Until then.